The notebook, open to page 34. You bought this in August. It's now April. 8 months. Every single page is a different version of the same plan you've not started. You didn't plan anything in that notebook. You embalmed it. You took an idea, something that could have actually moved, actually breathed, actually changed your life, and you wrapped it in enough paper to suffocate it. That's not a strategy document in your drawer. That's a coffin, and you've been filling coffins for years. This isn't being thorough. This isn't being strategic. This isn't measure twice, cut once. We're not talking about due diligence. We're talking about a man who's figured out that if the plan is never finished, he never has to find out what he's actually made of. Now, I'm not going to help you build a better system. I'm going to show you line by line what every color-coded to-do list in your drawer is actually protecting you from. Then, I'm going to hand you one move that makes the whole coffin factory collapse. If you click off this video, you'll do what you always do. You'll open a new document, you'll title it something hopeful, and you'll keep embalming your own life, one neat little bullet point at a time. Your brain loves that notebook, not because it's smart, because it's safe. Every time you write the plan, your brain hands you a little hit of chemical reward, dopamine, the same stuff that lights up when you actually accomplish something. Except nothing happened. No movement, no risk, no exposure, just ink on paper. Your brain can't tell the difference. So you get the high of progress without the danger of reality. And you feel accomplished. You feel disciplined. You feel intelligent. All without having to face a single person who could tell you no. And then, right on schedule, the voice whispers, let's refine it. Let's get even clearer before we start. Let's build one more version. And this time, we'll be really ready. That's not preparation. That's a heroin addict calling his dealer and telling himself it's medicine. You're not a strategist. You're a junkie. And the drug is the plan. Here's the lie you tell yourself. I just want to get it right. That's not what's happening. You already know it's not what's happening. Perfectionism isn't a standard. It's an alibi. Because if the plan isn't perfect yet, you have permission to keep waiting, keep refining, keep delaying, keep breathing in the fumes of your own potential without ever having to test whether it's real. Because the moment you actually launch the thing, the second you put it in front of another human being, something terrifying becomes possible. You might fail. You might look stupid. You might discover that brilliant plan you've been polishing for 8 months doesn't survive 10 minutes of contact with reality. So you stay in that notebook where nothing can hurt you, where the version of you who exists on paper is still a genius, still on the verge, still about to. And while you're in there perfecting, the man you could have become is dying of old age. I've watched this happen in real time. Men I know, smart men, successful men, men with resumes that would humiliate you. One of them spent 6 months planning a business. Market research, strategy documents, financial projections, logo design, website mock-ups. Beautiful work. Truly, you could frame it. Then came the moment he actually had to launch something, and he froze. Maybe we should refine the offer. Maybe we should run the numbers one more time. Maybe the timing isn't right. Translation? I'm terrified to find out if this works. Meanwhile, this is the part that should hurt. Some other guy with half his intelligence and a quarter of his credentials just shipped a messy, ugly, half-baked version of the same idea. And within 90 days, that guy knew more about the market than the planner ever would. Because reality teaches in weeks what the notebook can never teach in years. The planner is still in his drawer, still refining, still almost ready. The other guy, well, he's already on version 4 of a business that's making money. That's not a difference in talent. That's a difference in who was willing to stop embalming and start bleeding. Here's what actually happens and what the notebook actually costs you. Not time. Time is the surface wound. Every time you plan without acting, you train your nervous system to associate opportunity with paralysis. You teach yourself at the deepest level that the response to a live idea is to kill it slowly with ceremony on paper. So the next idea you have takes longer to start. The one after that takes longer still. Eventually, you become the man who always has a plan and never has results. Not because you lack intelligence, not because you lack discipline. That's the tragedy. You became the man whose intelligence and discipline are being used against him, weaponized, turned inward, deployed to keep you exactly where you are. And the worst part, you're respected for it. People see that notebook. They see the system. They see the strategic mind. They call you thoughtful, methodical, thorough. They don't know they're watching a man bury himself in installments. Let me ask you something. What, right now in your actual life, is still sitting in the planning phase? That project, the move, the conversation, the business, the decision, the thing you've been getting ready for. Name it in your head right now. If you've been planning it for more than 30 days, you're not planning anymore. You're hiding. Real planning takes hours, sometimes minutes. Execution is what takes courage. And if that thing you just named has been in that notebook for 6 months, a year, 3, you already have your answer. You were never going to do it. You just dignified a way not to do it. The notebook gave you that dignity. That's all it's ever been for. Now here's the tool. Single move. Either you do it or you don't. Stop planning in private. That's it. The coffin only works because nobody can see inside it. The moment you put the plan in front of another human being, a potential customer, a potential partner, a potential buyer, anyone outside of your own skull, the embalming stops because now there's a witness. Now there's a deadline. Now there's a real response waiting on the other side. This doesn't mean share your goals with friends. And that's just more embalming because friends are paid to be nice to you. This means take the thing out of the notebook and put it in front of someone who can say no, someone whose rejection would actually cost you something, a customer, a prospect, a real stakeholder. You will hate this. Every cell in your body will resist. Good. That resistance is the sound of the coffin cracking open. Do it this week, not next week, not after one more round of refinement. This week. Because every week you spend refining the plan in private is another week you're choosing the drug over the life. At some point, planning stops being preparation. It becomes protection. Protection from failure, from judgment, from finding out if you're actually the man you've been telling yourself you are. But here's the part that should keep you up tonight. Even after you see this, even after you recognize the pattern, even after you close this video, knowing exactly what that notebook really is, you probably still won't move. Because by now you're not just hiding and planning, you're hiding in thinking. You debate, you rehearse, you argue with yourself. You write the plan in your head instead of on paper. You call that progress. That's where execution dies completely. That's where we're going next. Look, if you just watched this and felt something crack, if you recognized yourself in that notebook, there's a deeper layer underneath this pattern. The planning isn't the disease, it's a symptom. Underneath it is an identity problem, a version of you that was built to perform competence instead of to live a life. Now, I put something together that walks you through excavating that identity, piece by piece. The link's below. If you want to actually see what's underneath the notebook, that's where you start.